Hi guys, welcome to this revision video for operations management. The chapter that we are revising today is called capacity planning and management. So in this chapter, we can see that we've covered all those previous chapters, and now in the sequence of the book, that's the chapter we are at, and that is the managing step of this book. Now, we're going to define some learning outcomes. We're going to define the measures and capacity. We're going to assess difficulties. We're going to evaluate and apply strategies for matching the capacity with demand. We're going to analyze the impact of constraints and bottlenecks. We're going to outline different strategies available, and we're going to explain and apply key forecasting techniques. Now, there's some key theories. There's a resource mix. Now, this is a collection of all the resources or inputs that you have in your business that can be changed to adjust to increase or decrease the capacity of your business. So input and output measures are based on capacity. And then there's something that's called design capacity. This is top level desired ideal state capacity, as it presumes 24/7 operations with no stoppages. So this does not count any breaks that the employees might need, any lunches, any maintenance time. It is the ideal time that the top level desires them to work. Effective capacity is the same as design capacity, but it has stoppages such as lunch breaks and maintenance. Actual capacity is more of a working number, and it looks at what is the actual produced amount and considers both planned and unplanned stoppages. Now, let's look at the introduction. Capacity itself refers to the ability to deliver goods and services. Now, we always hear the capacity needs to match the demand. Demand is determined by the market. So there's three main factors that we need to consider when planning our capacity. It is the capacity itself, how much can we make of our product? The demand, how much does the market need of our product? Forecasting, that means can we match our demand to capacity without wasting any money or resources or efforts? Now, capacity management affects all areas of an operation. Capacity determines the rate at which operations can transform inputs and outputs, and it can be delivered within a given time. Capacity decisions determine the number of passengers per flight on an airplane, passengers who can be seen in a surgery session, doctor's practice, mobile phones that can be produced in a factory in a week. Now, in capacity, each business looks at capacity in a different way. So, for example, a bus's capacity is how many customers it can carry. A fast food restaurant's capacity is how many people it can seat. Now, capacity can be changed by introducing new approaches, by increasing the service providers or machines, increasing the number of operational hours, acquiring additional facilities, and changing capacity can be very difficult and time consuming, and it will incur you some cost. Capacity management constraints, that means there's some things that stop us from managing it. That means increasing or decreasing our capacity. They are the staff, the IT facilities, the materials available, products or service mix, the storage, the working schedules. All of these are factors that makes it very hard for us to manage our capacity and increase or decrease our capacity. Now, there's a theory of constraint. This basically means that we need to identify the bottleneck of the process. Now, the bottleneck of any operations is the part where the operations slow down and they don't go smoothly. That is called the bottleneck. So in the theory of constraints, you are meant to find that bottleneck in your business, explore its constraints. That means you see what you can do to remove it, and then you actually get your employees to help you out. You get them to have a management system to support, and then you remove the constraint, and once that is done, you go look for the next bottleneck, because there's always going to be a bottleneck in your business. Then, like we said, the inputs or outputs of any business can be measured, and every business has a different way. So the input for a music festival is square units of land, and then the output can be the number of people that attend the music festival. Now, there's three different capacity planning strategies. The first one is capacity leads demand. That means no matter what the demand is, your capacity remains the same. You do not change it, you do not decrease or increase it. You keep producing at a certain level, and you are ready to satisfy the demand and meet the short-term opportunities. And capacity matches demand. That means you try your best to match the demand and produce as much as needed. You need to rely heavily on forecasting, and capacity lags demand. That means you wait to see what the demand is and then you try to handle your capacity in that certain way. That means you try your best to lag behind. That means you wait for the demand to go up before you can increase your capacity, and that helps you get rid of any costs. So that means that you can get rid of any costs that you might incur if you end up producing extra materials. Now, capacity planning, there should be timing. There's short-term capacity planning, long-term planning, and it could be medium-term planning. So short-term planning means the impact of those decisions on your capacity is not going to be is going to be up to 3 months. Medium range means they're up to 3 to 12 months, and long term is they are 12 to 18 months. Now we move on to anticipating changes in demand. Demand can change due to a lot of different reasons. It could be your competitors, what they're doing. It could be taste changes. It could be seasonality of products. It could be economic changes. It could be the government policies, the complementary products, or substitutes. Now, forecasting means we need to have some sort of way to predict the future of demand, and we base that off of qualitative and quantitative measures. So we measure and we try our best to try and forecast and predict the future demand. So qualitative methods that we use include market surveys. We ask people of their opinion. There's also scenario planning. That means what if that happens, and then you have a backup plan for if something happens. Then there's the Delphi method, where there's interviews with people who are not physically present there, but you can get them over and you can make a panel and they can give you the result of what you need to do. There's quantitative methods such as time series analysis. There's trends. It could be seasonal growth, cyclical, or absolutely random. And basically, there's capacity strategies for operational delivery. These are the same as the strategies we talked about, where it was capacity leads demand, capacity matches demand, and capacity follows demand. Now, the next one is we need to talk about the yield management. Yield management is a group of methods that assist an operation with fixed capacity to manage its operational revenue and utility. So that means a hotel has a fixed number of rooms. So what is the best way for them to manage this and to maximize the money that they can earn from it? The next concept is queuing theory. There is a theory to queues, and that means whenever there's a queue, customers entering into a queue or the business to queue are called population, and the customers that are free to join, and if they choose not to join the queue and once they look at the queue they leave, it's called bulking. And then if a customer enters the queue but they feel like after a few minutes, maybe half an hour or something, they feel like they don't want to stay in the queue, this is called reneging. Now, if we can see, there's customers that are bulking, that are reneging, that we are rejecting, and then the rest of the customers get in line, they get what they need, and then they exit the system. Process servers, that means each server could have their own line, or there could be different lines, or it could be sequential queue. That means customers queue up for the first part of the process, then they have to queue again, then they have to queue again. For example, when you go to a hospital emergency department and they send you to, let's say, do a blood test. Now that means you need to queue up in 3 different places. Then customers' perception of waiting in queues. It depends whether the customers feel like your product is worth the wait. If they feel like you provide them enough value for them to value your product and to feel like it's worth it, then they will probably not be they won't be inconvenienced with the queue. However, they do consider it as time wasted, and it would reduce anxiety if they knew how long they would have to queue for. And the some customers are prepared to pay a premium to avoid the queue. That means that gives you a business opportunity where you can offer a premium price. If the customer pays that price, they don't have to queue. So queuing too is important because it just shows you that even something as that's perceived negatively as a queue, a long queue where people have to wait, can be turned into something positive if the customers feel like your product is worth it. That is all for this chapter. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. And thank